Hello class, I am Happy Narang, your subject teacher of Fundamentals of Soil Science. Today I am going to cover the topic that is agricultural soil contaminants. So let's start. Over the last 100 years, agricultural expansion and intensification has led to changes in water quality and the health of stream ecosystems. Considerable increases in fertilizer and pesticide use began in the 1960s. In 2010, about 11 billion kilograms of nitrogen fertilizer and 300 million kilograms of pesticides were used annually to enhance crop production or control pests. Increased levels of nutrients from fertilizers draining into streams can stimulate algal blooms and affect stream health, and recreational uses of local streams, downstream reservoirs, and estuaries and increased treatment costs for drinking water. Pesticides that are transported to streams can pose risk for aquatic life and fish eating wildlife and drinking water supplies. Environmental effect and proper use of chemical fertilizer. Chemical fertilizers being produced synthetically from inorganic materials are substances providing nutrient elements for plants' growth with physical or chemical methods. They are rich in the three essential nutrients needed for plant growth. Types of fertilizer are in great varieties. Some examples of chemical fertilizers are ammonium sulfate, ammonium phosphate, ammonium nitrate, urea, ammonium chloride, etc. There are some benefits of chemical fertilizer and we will be discussing some of them. Chemical fertilizers helping plants grow. Chemical fertilizers being cheaper than organic fertilizers, providing immediate nourishment. So first we will discuss chemical fertilizers helping plants grow. They contain one or more of the essential growth nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium and various others. Once added to the soil, these nutrients fulfill the required demands of the plants and provide them the nutrients they naturally lacked or helps them retain the lost nutrients. Chemical fertilizers provide specific formulations of NPK, that is nitrogen, phosphorus and potash, in order to treat nutrient deficient soils and plants types of fertilizers. Now comes chemical fertilizers being cheaper than organic fertilizers. Chemical fertilizers tend to cost much less than organic fertilizers. On the one hand, seeing from the organic fertilizers manufacturing process, it is not hard to figure out the reasons why organic fertilizers are costly. The need to harvest organic material to use in the fertilizers and the higher costs of being certified organic by government regulatory agencies. On the other hand, chemical fertilizers turning out to be cheaper is because they pack more nutrients per pound of weight, while more organic fertilizers are needed for the same level of nutrients. One needs several pounds of organic fertilizer to provide the same soil nutrient levels that a single pound of chemical fertilizers provides. Providing immediate nourishment. The providing of immediate nourishment and lower purchasing costs greatly popularized in organic fertilizers. Chemical fertilizers have become a staple in many farms yards and gardens, and can be a key component of a healthy lawn care routine. But do not chemical fertilizer do no harm to soil and plants? Are not they any things needing to be noticed in the application of chemical fertilizers? The answer absolutely is no. There are some effects of chemical fertilizers on soil, that is groundwater pollution, soil friability effect, destruction of microorganism. So first we will discuss the groundwater pollution. The persistent use of chemical fertilizers causes the pollution of groundwater sources or leaching. Chemical fertilizers that are highly soluble get absorbed by the ground more rapidly than they are absorbed by the intended plants. Plants have the capacity to absorb only a given level of nutrition at a time, leaving the rest of the fertilizer to leach. And leaching is not only hazardous to groundwater sources but also to the health of subsoil, where these chemicals react with clay to create hard layers of soil known as hardpan. And as a result of chemical fertilizers use, the health of soil and water is jeopardized, not to mention the waste of money and nutrient deficient plants. Now comes soil friability effect. The presence of a number of acids in the soil, such as hydrochloric and sulfuric acids, create a damaging effect on soil referred to as soil friability. The different acids in the soil dissolve the soil crumbs, which help to hold together the rock particles, and the soil crumbs result from the combination of humus or decomposed natural materials such as dead leaves with clay. These mineral rich soil crumbs are essential to soil drainage and greatly improve air circulation in the soil. And as the chemicals in the chemical fertilizers destroy soil crumbs, the result is a highly compacted soil with reduced drainage and air circulation. Destruction of microorganisms. The synthetic chemicals in the chemical fertilizers adversely affect the health of naturally found soil microorganisms by affecting the soil pH. These altered levels of acidity in the soil eliminate the microorganism beneficial to plant and soil health, as they help to increase the plant's natural defense against pests and diseases. These helpful microorganisms consist of antibiotic producing bacteria and other fungi which are found in healthy soil. And the use of chemical fertilizers also jeopardized the health of bacteria that fix the nitrogen balance in the soil. These nitrogen fixing bacteria are responsible for converting the atmospheric oxygen into a form of nitrogen that can be used readily by plants. There are some harmful effects of chemical fertilizers, and we will be discussing some of them. That is chemical burn, increased air pollution, soil acidification, mineral depletion. So first we will discuss chemical burn. Chemical fertilizers are high in nutrient content such as nitrogen. Over application of chemical fertilizer to plants may cause the leaves to turn yellow or brown, damaging the plant and reducing crop yield. This condition is known as chemical leaf scorch. Leaf scorch can cause the leaves of the plant to wither and may cause the plant to die. Increased air pollution. Excess nitrogen used in crop fertilization can contribute to the release of greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and nitrous oxide into the atmosphere. This effect is caused by using a greater amount of chemical fertilizer than the plants can readily absorb. And according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, that is NOAA, Climate Monitoring and Diagnostics Lab, excess greenhouse gases trapped in the atmosphere may be contributing to the increase of land and ocean surface temperatures. Soil acidification. The overuse of chemical fertilizers can lead to soil acidification because of a decrease in organic matter in the soil, and nitrogen applied to fields in a large amounts over time damage topsoil, resulting in reduced crop yields. Sandy soils are much more prone to soil acidification than are clay soils, and clay soils have an ability to buffer the effects of excess chemical fertilization. Mineral depletion. There is an increasing concern that continuous use of chemical fertilizers on soil depletes the soil of essential nutrients, and as a result, the food produced in these soils have less vitamin and mineral content. According to data produced by the US Department of Agricultural Nutrient Data Laboratory, foods grown in soils that were chemically fertilized were found to have less magnesium, potassium, and calcium content. And other types of chemical contamination. Soils can become contaminated with all sorts of chemicals, from oil, gasoline, or pesticides to a variety of industrial chemicals and mining wastage. This contamination may occur through, although in the past waste materials of these types were frequently disposed of by dumping on soils. In urban areas, it is common to find lead contaminated soil as a result of the use of lead based paint for decades. Lead, as well as other contaminants, frequently makes creating an urban garden a real challenge. Frequently, new topsoil is brought in, mixed with a large quantity of compost, and placed in raised beds so that plant roots grow above the contaminated soil. Agricultural soils that have a history of application of sewage sludge, that is, biosolids is the current term, may have received significant quantities of heavy metals such as cadmium, zinc, and chromium, as well as antibiotics and pharmaceutical drugs contained in the sludge. There are a number of ways to remediate chemically contaminated soils, sometimes adding manure or other organic amendments, and growing crops stimulates soil organisms to break down organic chemicals into less harmless forms. Some plants are especially good at taking up certain metals from soils and are sometimes used to clean contaminated soil, but they then must be disposed of carefully. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe.